So, a question I was asked by a family member was, how much did my final project differ from the original concept? And to be honest with you, the difference is kind of drastic. It's a pretty big leap in differences there. The final project was it focuses on mental health, but it doesn't draw immense attention to it. It just kind of focuses on the character, his struggle, without deep diving into like the concept of mental health. And originally, I planned on having the entire focus being on mental health, and not just not so much the character, and not so much like the moment where you're kind of before asking for help, right? That was not the moment that I was focusing on before. Before, it was really going to be a story of a college student who's struggling, hiding, trying not to be seen, and then rather than, finding help or taking a step toward finding help, he takes his own life. And I felt as though that was kind of walking a fine line that I didn't know that I wanted to cross. And even if I didn't cross it, I feel like that added some complications that I really didn't want to deal with. I really wanted to avoid glorifying suicide or glamorizing anything of the sort. It's a very touchy subject, and with so many people being able to relate to these struggles, I felt it was irresponsible of me to make the film like that. So I took a step back and I thought, how can I adjust this? How can I make this less impactful in a negative way and focus on hope, in a sense, and that uncomfortability in a moment of making a decision versus this kid is inevitably going to kill himself. Like, there's no positive there. There's no positive outlook. It was just negative. So I had to pivot in the midst of my not my production, but in the midst of my pre-production, and I had to really hone in what exactly I wanted to do. Which there is a page in this notebook as well. If you happen to be listening to this at the event and the notebook is there, feel free to look. There's a lot of colors on that page, so it's kind of hard to miss. But I go in depth on that page on all the different things that I was keeping, but also changing slightly in like what that alteration was, and why, because I really wanted to avoid being irresponsible there. But yeah. It changed a lot, so yeah.